Picking up where we left off, one of the things that I wanted to talk about real quick was how to determine what should be a triangle and what should be a quad. If you turn sideways looking at, say, these two faces right here, well, actually this face, the reason I didn't split this is because they're essentially pretty flat. And that's kind of what you're looking at. So one of the things is this face right here, it's not flat. So that's one of the ones that I want to change. More or less, this probably should be my quad, and this should be my next quad. Because of that, we're just going to go in here and disregard this plane that's in here. This is one of the reasons why I didn't want to go into Blender and clean it up. Turn on edges. Then I can select this edge. I can delete it. I'm actually going to go ahead and just delete that edge. There we go. There's a little bit of curvature on those two, but that'll be okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this quad right here. When it comes to the spikes that are on top, we're going to add those, but I think later on in some of the more advanced courses, we're going to show how to make spikes and actually place them, which will look a lot better. The whole point of these tutorials, though, is to keep them extremely simple for people that are just start with their 3D printers, and they just want to be able to print some cool things. As we showed in the previous video, we're going to use the bridge tool. It's just pretty fast for stuff like this. As you can see, there's nothing really that complicated about doing this. You just have to pay attention to where you're at. And just look for the quads. Now, if you're creating these from scratch, that's different. Because obviously there's nothing to follow. There's no guides. But this is another reason that this is good practice for people that are beginning too, for the simple fact that it shows you how others before you created their meshes. I feel like that's a pretty big portion. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump back in again and we're going to check all this out and make sure that we don't have any errors. So back over here to modify, go down to snap to reference verts. We're going to go ahead and save our scene, and then we're going to export our mesh. No, let's actually change this to step 2. So now that we've saved that out, let's go into Blender. We're going to import that back in. So that gives us this. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add the subdivision modifier. Now, if we look, we have that same issue up here that we had before. So let's go back into Topo Gun and take a look at that real quick. Yep, same thing. You can see it here. So let's go up here to modify, reverse normals, and then that'll fix that. And then in the next video, we'll carry on and work on the lower jaw.